Good morning and welcome to another training video. And today what we're going to have a look at is someone had a question about entering data into a sheet where they needed to put in the timestamp for the date that the data was entered in addition to the date that the data refers to. And the reason for doing this is that the data might need to be sorted by either of those fields at any point. So if the status changes for the same invoice number from unpaid to paid, and we're going to do a VLOOKUP on here, what we need to do is we need to be finding the one from the top. So we'd search for the invoice number, we'd do a VLOOKUP on the invoice number, and it would start at the top and work its way down, so it'd find the first instance or the uppermost instance of that invoice number, and we'd want that to be the most recent one that we'd actually entered. So we might be entering another line here. So for example, I might enter another line here which is to do with that same invoice number, and say the status is changed from unpaid to paid, just as an example. Okay, so how would we go about doing that? Well, we could do it manually like I just did. So I could actually click in there, I could check my clock and actually type in the date and time. Another way of doing that is to actually just say insert, and then if I click on the cell here, if I type in equals today, that will give me the date part of it. But what I could also do is I could type in equals now, and what that will do is it will enter the date and time. Now you do have to have your formatting set up to be custom format, and you have to have it showing the date and the time. If you don't do that, all it'll do is it'll show you just the time stamp here when you say now. So if you just say equals now, I'd actually formatted that column to show me, but it will just put in the time itself if you just put in equals now. We then go ahead and enter that. Now the downside of this is that's a formula. It's not actually the date and time that it was entered. And if we refresh, that will update to what now currently is. So it's not quite what we want. What we actually want is we want it to go in as equals now, and then go back to that same cell, copy it, and paste in the values and click OK. So I did that using the special paste to paste in the values, and I was using the keyboard shortcuts there. Keyboard shortcut for copy, Control C, for special paste or paste special, Control Alt V, and then choose the values option. Now rather than doing that all manually every time, I've just made a quick macro to do it all for us. So I just click on there and it adds in an extra row and puts in the now stamp and does a copy and paste it in as values. So let's have a look at that macro and it'll show you exactly what it does. So it literally does what we said. It selects the top row or the row underneath your headers, and it inserts another row, shifting everything else down. You see it's got the Excel down there. It then selects cell A2, and in that cell A2 it puts in the formula equals now open close brackets. Still with the same cell selected, it copies, and then it does a paste special, and the special paste it does is it pastes in the values. Again, still into the same cell. It then moves into the cell to the right, so you're ready to go and actually start entering your data. So here we are. All it does, again, if I just delete that row, anywhere I am to start with, I just run my macro and it basically puts the date stamp in there, and you'll notice it's not the formula now, it's actually the correct date stamp, and it selects the next cell ready for me to start. Okay, I hope that's been useful. If you do want a copy of that code, just pop me a mail or a message and let me know how to get in touch with you, and I'll just pop it in the email for you. I hope it's been useful, and once more thank you for listening.